And the most successful entrepreneurial companies, the innovators, the media companies, are building a services layer on top of their technology that provides production services, deployment, and even, in a lot of cases, content creation. In other words, they're starting to behave like creative departments or agencies. At the same time that that's been going on, many of us on the agency side have also started building things that don't look like ads, things that have durability and they live on and they build an audience and they're more like products, right? Things that you would expect an entrepreneurial company to create. We think that's incredibly exciting for those of us who've come up through the agency side of things. In fact, we've actually got some of the products, as we think of them, that we've developed at the Media Lab on display inside at the UM Curiosity Zone, which is inside the Microsoft Cyber Lounge, which we invite you to come check out over the course of the week. So anyway, it seems like there's new roles that are happening out there, and what we wanted to do today was have a conversation with clients, with advertisers, to talk to them about what sort of relationships they're looking for from entrepreneurs, media innovators, and agencies.
So what we created was a site called Type F with a partnership with Tyra Banks. And it doesn't have Tyra's name on it, but what it's based on is personalization of what people are looking for. It's built off of the Facebook Connect platform, so it's highly personalized, and then it goes deep. It doesn't just give you one answer because beauty is highly personal. People want to know, hey, how to get wrinkles out of a skin, how to put on makeup for stage lighting. I don't know how I did, but you guys will tell me later. And it's all L'Oreal product. There'll be a bag check later.
One of the things that I've been very fascinating is actually this chart, which was a little bit of an eye-opener for me, which pretty much kind of maps out the percentage of the percentage that people are actually researching online versus the percentage of people purchasing online. And it buckets it, depending on level of maturity from a digital perspective, in 3 different areas. So the first is gone to digital, which is the most advanced phase. The second one is a digital battlefield, and the third one was still in the store. And what's interesting is that you can see that from a beauty perspective, which is obviously our industry, we've been relatively kind of immature as far as that percentage is in terms of purchased online and researched online. And so for me, it was, again, pretty much of a wake-up call because we've been benchmarking ourselves versus other beauty companies. But if you look at other industries like electronics or books, obviously those are in a completely different space, have reinvented what the stores look like and how they're developing their advertising. And if you just like it from 1 year, what I put on the chart is just the evolution from 2009 to 2010. And you just see this dramatic shift just in 1 year and how beauty has moved from the still in the store to gone to digital.
We'll start with Trudy. I think if you look back maybe a decade and you take a look at what people are doing today and what they did 10 years ago, what does creative mean to you in an age where photo sharing and watching news feeds and using search engines and spending time on YouTube, et cetera? What is creative? Because I think it's very different than the 4 or 5 buckets that we had a decade ago.
Well, just a little bit of background on me. I started with the BMW Group 10 years ago, and I actually was brought on board to launch the Mini brand. So what was really interesting was approaching a brand that had no history here. So there were no preconceived notions of what the advertising should look like, what the creative could look like, and that really gave me a wonderful opportunity to start with a blank sheet of paper. I just moved over to the BMW brand this past December, where largely it's been institutionalized in very traditional mediums, except for some of our great moments of BMW films, and we are now more of content creators than we are traditional marketers. So it's been interesting to see the difference between the 2 brands and coming over from one where the company allows you to take great creative risks and one that's now becoming more open to new technology and emerging platforms and allowing those same types of creative opportunities on the other side.
So that's a great perspective to have. And I guess I'll have, so Troy, first of all, I want, for everyone in the audience that doesn't know about Say Media, I want to give Troy 15 seconds to talk about what Say is. I'm sure you know many of the brands, but before that, you spent 15 years as a creative guy in the ad business, making creative for your clients. So I think when you set out to develop what Say is and what the offering is, would love to hear you kind of react to the pain that Trudy and Marc have felt in creating content very quickly so that it's still relevant, and how you can become an outsourced creative department because you understand your platform better than anyone. So
yeah, thanks, Marc. First of all, Say Media is I think of it as a new kind of vertical media company enabling a generation of sort of passionate online creators to build audiences, and then an engagement marketing platform that helps brands connect with those people. And we touch about 400 million people a month. The history of how we built the platform originally was, I think, born out of frustration on the agency side. I remember doing a pitch to Fox Theatrical to a sort of a kind of self-professed digital hater at the time who felt that the medium was incapable of delivering, this sort of experiential quality of television and probably not worth the hassle. And, my experience on the agency side was from sort of scaling campaigns, working with rich media vendors, delivering experiential creative online across a multitude of properties was really expensive and really difficult for clients, particularly a film company that was doing 50 releases a year. So we now, have built a platform that enables us to create a media plan and, rich conversational, experiential campaigns in a matter of hours, not weeks, as a kind of value-added component to a media buy. So, everything that we've done has been about streamlining the creative production process, leaving room and for sort of for creative people to be a part of that process, but to really kind of get the laborious stuff kind of into tools and really simplify that to take the cost out of it and make it much easier for clients.